Good evening. Oh, Mom. Good evening. On behalf of my colleagues on the Board of Education, I call to order our evening meeting. Today is Monday, April the 27th. Warm welcome to all those here in attendance this evening. It's nice to see ABSS staff, students, and families. Let's see. I also want to thank Mr. Engel for covering for me at the work session while I was at a funeral earlier this month. If you join me in a moment of silence, and then we'll stand those who are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able, please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Board members, there is a request to amend the agenda to add F1 under Superintendent for a May 1st update. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Board members, you've had the opportunity to review the minutes from 2 meetings last month and the public budget hearing. Is there a motion to approve at this time?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 7-0. There are 11 items on the consent agenda from our work session. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 7-0. There is no business before the Board of Education this evening, so at this time, I will turn the floor over to Dr. Fleming for a special presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to ask Dr. Christy Davis to come forward and introduce our guest from Elon University.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Dr. Fleming. So with me tonight, I have 3 seniors from Elon University's Community-Based Senior Seminar. Jacob Countess, Dr. Yolanda Anderson, and I worked with these 3 seniors, working mainly on revising Policy 6320, law, use of student transportation services. So today they're going to present to you 2 options that they came up with. And so we have Molly Frank, Michelin Rankin, and Malia Proctor.
Hi everyone, my name is Molly Frank and I'm joined with Michelin Rankin and Malia Proctor. And throughout this semester with the Elon Public Policy Senior Seminar, we have teamed up with Superintendent Davis and other ABSS administrators to revise the current 6320 use of student transportation Section C policy. We conducted a community survey, a surrounding district analysis, and other research methods to adopt this policy, and are excited to share our recommendation with you. Just a brief overview of the current policy. The current policy remains neutral on the transportation of minors in private vehicles, but the policy states that ABSS discourages the use of private vehicle transportation. However, authorization can be allowed by a school principal under conditions such as consent from the parents, the driver must be properly licensed, not a student, with insurance coverage, and there needs to be parental notification that the district does not provide car insurance.
Okay, so kind of getting into why this policy is important. It is important because each child has a obligation, and there is an obligation to make sure that they're getting transported safely, and that when emergency circumstances arise, that there is the support for vulnerable student communities. Logistical challenges will always be Oh, thank you. Logistical challenges can always arise in transportation, and we just want to make sure that there are the proper structures in place to support students when they do encounter the extenuating circumstances when transportation that is regularly programmed for them does not necessarily accommodate their needs. And so we wanted to make sure that we had stakeholder voices and other support in the decisions that helped us form these recommendations to just solidify the genuine commitment to student safety and protection of these transportation services to minors.
All right, as we said, we did a stakeholder community survey to understand better what the wants and needs of parents and other ABSS district members might want. We reached out to school administrators, teachers, coaches, and other school faculty and received 13 responses. As you could see on the chart, most of the responses were dissatisfied or not satisfied with the current private transportation policy. And then we also probed respondents about what permitted uses should activate the transportation policy. And those included medical emergencies, missing the bus or other transportation, schools, and school-sponsored activities when no district transportation is available. And then we also wanted to hear what some of the main concerns from our stakeholders may be, and these responses are from question 7 of the survey, which was, what concerns, if any, do you have about transporting minors in vehicles during extenuating circumstances? And these responses shared that the main concern was usually like a liability risk for both the students and the faculty person driving them. And this feedback allowed us to approach the current policy with better insight into what the district needs.
So before we drafted our policy recommendations, we looked around at fellow districts, which were similar to ABSS, to see what their current policies are. And Chatham County Schools has a very strict, under no circumstances should students and teachers be in cars together. They are very focused on liability, and they just do not allow it outright. Instead, they'll have a bus come and pick up the student if need be. Whereas Orange County and Chapel Hill, Carborough were a little bit more similar in that they do need authorization from the parents, from the driver. They need specific forms signed. They need the driver's license. And Chapel Hill has private and volunteer drivers permitted, with also just background checks and people approved by the school. But there is a very clear policy written on what paperwork and authorization needs to be done to mitigate liability risks.
Okay, so now to kind of get into our recommendation, we have identified that there's need in the stakeholder analysis and then just in logistical circumstances that might arise with emergencies, that there can be circumstances in which minors need to be privately transported in vehicles. So one of the things that we recommended that was that there is additional clarification kind of surrounding what circumstance constitutes an emergency, so that there can be clarity and uniformity on how faculty are addressing these issues, and they can have clearer guidelines on how and when this is an appropriate action to take. And then taking it a step further, we also wanted to add a structure where there is a 2-person designee per school, where these individuals go through the proper qualifications and background checks and all of the necessary background to be able to transport a minor with as little liability as possible. That was one of the biggest stakeholder concerns, was the liability. So we, as a group, kind of came up with the consensus that if there were 2 designated individuals, those individuals can be properly fielded more than just having a random school personnel or faculty try to address a situation when a circumstances arise. This recommendation is more proactive in having 2 people already have the accountability and responsibility for taking care of emergency circumstances, and then with them already planning as a part of their role to take on this additional obligation, they would be prepared in these circumstances. And also, an additional point is this is an emergency procedure, so to make sure that it is not being abused after 3-time use by a student, there could be a sit down with a parent necessitated there, is just so it makes sure that this is not becoming a default, but it is just remaining an emergency procedure.
So policy alternative 2 kind of follows what is currently happening. It is more bare bones basic with just defining what exactly an emergency is, but not having the 2 personnel designated per district. So this would be just strongly discouraging any transportation of minors except in these verified emergency circumstances. So it's just a little bit more straightforward, but there is the liability factor to this alternative. But it does also define the emergency circumstances a little bit better with district provided transportation is unavailable, inoperable, inaccessible, and or medical emergencies kind of being the only time that this could be used. So comparing the 2 policies, it's very similar to what I just said, but policy alternative 1, it provides structure, it's very proactive, and it does put the district in a better position in terms of liability and the students with having 2 designated drivers at any given time. So, and the authorization paperwork, it just is a lot more structured. And then we also do have some accountability on that with having the 3-time use, and then a conversation with the parents needs to be have. And then the emergency circumstances also being defined there. And then policy alternative 2 is just a very bare bones version of that, which might be easier to implement for immediate use. But we recommend strongly policy alternative 1.
Yeah, that's all we have. Thank you, guys. And if you have any questions.
Thank you, ladies. Any questions from board members? Mr. Rogers and then Dr. Hall.
So with the, I guess the recommendation 1, that's the one that has more of the paperwork as far as consent forms and things from the parent, I guess, of the student.
Yes, it would be on both sides, birth designee per school. We're going to do 2 or recommend 2 designees per school. So they would have like a series of paperwork on the back of those forms that I passed out. There is a sample of something that Elon used, which is a little bit less comprehensive because we're adults, but that is just kind of like a jumping off point where that type of paperwork could be used. And then minors, parents could maybe even have the consent filled out before emergency arises, like at the beginning of the school year, where they already know these individuals would be tasked with taking home their student if a emergency circumstance arises, or if their student has a medical emergency, or there's some reason why a minor's parent is incapacitated and unable to get them. They would already know beforehand at the beginning of the school year who would be tasked with transporting their child, and also have that consent, and they can have that background, and the school can make sure that all that process and paperwork is processed by that individual.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Dr. Hall?
First of all, very nice job. I love seeing Elon students do what you do, so thank you for your work and giving some thoughtful insight here. My only question for this is that you say 2 faculty members. Is it intentional that this has to be a faculty member or teacher, or is this just 2 representatives from the school?
I'm going to give my answer, and then I'll pass it down. But we said 2 faculty members. We know with like teachers in mind and even some administrators, there's already a lot of paperwork and background that they have to do just to be able to work at the school. So we're thinking in terms of liability and background check that those would be the individuals that would already have a lot of the paperwork done. But if it were to be implemented and expanded, then maybe more faculty at the school could be put in a position where they have the background and things necessary to transport students.
Also, we chose faculty just because it was someone friendly that the student may know. If they need like an emergency circumstance, it would also just be a lot more like easier to get them there.
I appreciate that, but I think at a lot of the schools, there's a lot of people that they know and are friendly faces, so maybe consideration of expanding that could be useful, but thanks. Nice job.
Very nice job. Well done. Thank you. Oh, ladies, come back. Dr. Parker has a question.
I'm so sorry.
My apologies. Yes, sir.
I guess a couple questions. Like from a minor protection standpoint, usually you think, no minor without 2 adults, so the driver plus someone else. Did you see anything that other districts requiring that as far as a policy?
So other districts didn't require 2 adults in the vehicle, but they did require what our policy 1 recommendation is, just with the paperwork and having pre-authorization. And then I believe it was Chatham just didn't allow it at all. And in an emergency circumstance, they would have a school bus and a school driver come and pick up a student. But that's like if all other resources were exhausted. But no, it was just the paperwork authorization.
Okay,
kind of
I
what
was just
we're
thinking from
throwing
a
at you.
liability standpoint, and again,
Mhm.
youth protection. Does the policy have limitations about the type of vehicle? For instance, usually if it's, more than 10 people, it has to meet the requirements of, there are different requirements than, like a 5-person sedan or something like that. Is there anything in the policy about the kind of vehicle that can be used?
As of right now, there's no limitations on vehicle, but I think it was the Chapel Hill School District had some policy language about adding additional insurance riders to certain vehicles, which I think would be more accessible if you had pre-authorized designees, because then you would be able to add those additional insurance riders or anything based on their pre-existing insurance, but that would definitely be on a case-by-case, I guess, basis in the schools and depending on the individual's insurance. And then also speaking to the liability standpoint, we did have, like, in our actual final policy recommendation is a little bit more detailed. This was like a condensed version just to kind of like summarize things, but some of the implementation suggestions that we said were even dash cams, but I know that there's kind of like contention there whether people are comfortable or not. But with each school having like the 2 designees and that being a part of their role, with it being a whole additional role added to their already pre-existing obligations, then maybe there would be more negotiation on whether they would be able to have like a dash cam set up. I know there's detachable technology and there's so much possibility with where you could do that and navigating liability within the vehicles with different things like that. So that's one of the things that we had in our presentation before, but that kind of got cut out.
Got it. And one last thing. So the thinking is that the parent or guardian would give prior approval for transportation, because presumably if it's an emergency, you're not, it may be difficult to get permission from the parent or guardian in real time. So does this just, in your vision of the policy, would you just go out in the packet of papers that students fill out at the beginning of the year, or, yeah?
And yeah, I was almost modeling it off of my experience when I was in grade school. I know my school, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, they had these liability forms talking about consent to take photos and things like that, where like parents, all the way at the beginning of the year, before a photo was even taken of me, I was given consent that if they did take any photos, that would kind of be okay. And so a similar mindset was applied to this paperwork, that even if there no emergency is arise, you have that approval made by the parents at the beginning of the year, so that when the circumstances does arise, there's no issues.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Ms. Harvey?
So I know you're looking for a consent form in the beginning, but what if you don't have that consent form filled out? Is verbal consent enough when it is an emergency situation?
I think that would also be like a case-by-case basis. If they don't have the consent, I think you would have to err on the side that like protects the minor and like accommodates the situation, especially if it's like a medical emergency. But the goal would be to get that consent form just to like navigate the liability or minimize the liability risk for the district. But I think verbal consent can be something that can be talked into the policy.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any other questions or comments from board members?
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
So I can speak for my team that we really enjoyed working with the seniors on this project. And next steps, we will be taking the recommendations that they've provided to us and continuing to work with our internal committee that we have working on this policy, and then also draft some procedures that we bring to you to review for a vote.
Thank you, Dr. Davis.
Thank you, Dr. Davis.
At this time, I will turn the podium over to Ms. Emily Lynn Atkins, our Chief Communications Officer, and Mr. Wagner for student recognitions, or student and staff recognitions.
Good evening, Chair Ellington Graves, members of the board, Dr. Fleming. I am going to go ahead and kick this first recognition off and hand it over to Angie Reed, who is our K-12 Advanced Learners Coordinator, to recognize our Governor's School students.
So, good afternoon, or good evening, members of the board, Dr. Fleming. Tonight, we would like to recognize 14 of our ABSS students across the district who were accepted into the 2026 North Carolina Governor's School. I know some of our scholars have other commitments tonight. We have lots of athletes and those who work, so they may not all be in attendance. When I call students by school, if their parents would like to stand in the audience, and if we have any staff members at that school, if you'll stand as well. Students, once you get up here, if you'll stay, we're going to take some photos and take a large group photo at the end. Alrighty, so from Alamance Burlington Early College, we have 2 students, Hannah Dalton in the area of English and Emma Granuski in the area of natural science. I actually believe those 2 are not going to be present. So from Cummings High School, we have Mackenzie Walker in the area of social science. Congratulations. Mackenzie doesn't know this, but she was also our superintendent's choice. That just means she was an automatic, she automatically received an invitation, so. I'm not really allowed to celebrate that, but I wanted to give her a plug. So from Graham High School, we have Josiah Johnson in the area of English. So from Southern Alamance High School, we have Brody Clark, Alexander Parsons, Matthew Firmage, and they are all going in the area of natural science. Congratulations, you. All right, so from Southeast Alamance High School, we have Rianne Bumenlog in the area of social science, Elizabeth Ricks in the area of natural science, Michelle Tamir in the area of visual art, and Joel Varghese in the area of mathematics. Okay. So from Western Alamance High School, we have Grace Barrier in the area of English. I'm not sure she is in attendance. And then from Williams High School, we have Carolyn Connor in the area of social science and Grace Emahel in the area of visual art. Let's give one more round of applause for all of our students. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to make a few comments. Can you guys hear me? Is this on? I'll make sure a few comments about the students. You know, it's great for the Board of Education to always honor our state championship teams, and you know, thankfully we have a lot of those. But the primary reason we serve this community is to help students in the educational background. That's the number one goal of an education system. And not that I could have ever gotten into North Carolina School of Math and Science, but you know, getting into the North Carolina School of Math and Science is not easy. You know, you have to go through an application process through your counselors at school, correct? Is it a 2-part nomination process after that, 2-part after that? And so you spend 4 weeks of 1 or 2 campuses. I don't know what campus you guys are going to, mostly Greensboro or Raleigh? All over, okay, great. And so, correct me kids if I'm wrong, what they do is they have one primary subject they do study, but also not only the academic part of it, but also the arts part of it, which is just as important as academics. And rising seniors, I believe that's correct. So they get an idea of what college life's going to be. You know, when I first went to college, I have a little small town in western North Carolina. I get to the school with 23,000 people, and I was like, oh, goodness, what's this all about? So it's really good to see these kids have an opportunity to see what college is going to be about, become an adult. Stay kids as long as you can, trust me. Become an adult for 4 weeks and see really what that experience is like, living away from mom and dad and the comforts of home. So we're very proud of you guys. We know it's no easy task to do what you have done. We have many, many gifted students in Alamance County board, education system here. Great teachers and great support staff. Teachers, we want to give you a hand, please, because you are part of this process. Thank you. if we have any parents and their teachers, please come up. Let's get a photo with those folks, please, if you don't mind. We do put you on the pedestal as well because you're part of the process. If we had time, I would put you all up here and you have to say something. I'm kind of that guy, but I won't do that in the essence of time. So teachers, parents, family, please come up and get a photo if you would.
That includes our principals.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, administrator, absolutely. If you're involved in these kids' lives, come on up.
Good, thank you. Yeah, you did. I want to make sure Eric got it up here.
You got kids.
Flem said he threw him out. Threw Eric out.
How are y'all?
They can get him in there.
Keep smiling. Great. Real quick comment for you guys, parents, administrators, staff members, thank you. Thank you so much for encouraging your children to make sure that education is so important to them. It's because of you they're going to go to school. Thank you guys so much. Congratulations, kids. Do well, make us proud. Thank y'all.
Good job. Hey, it's good seeing you. You didn't hear me. Good job.
It is an honor this evening to also recognize some community collaboration that ensures our students can focus on their education rather than their meal lunch balances. I think that you all remember recently at our work session we presented some gifts to wipe out some of our lunch debt at ABSS. And so tonight I'm going to invite Tiffany Jackson with Safe Alamance, Kristen Sutherland, and Tara Nogger with United Way of Alamance County up to be recognized for their community collaboration. I have some. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. And a little something. And let me just read just a little bit about the collaboration that happened with these community partners. So the initiative began when SAFE, in partnership with United Way, identified a growing burden of school lunch debt within Alamance Burlington school system. Seeing firsthand the stress that the financial barriers place on families, SAFE launched a local fundraising campaign that bring the community together. United Way also worked with community partners to donate and relieve some lunch debt. The impact of the local movement created a catalyst, and where they were approached by a national organization called All for Lunch, which we've heard of here at the boardroom. They discovered the campaign via social media, and as a result, they also stepped in and helped to create some teamwork and really get things moving. So $15,000 was donated, and that was a while ago, so it's probably been more than that, to the district to eliminate all the current lunch debt. And then a long-term partnership was established to address the approximately $3,500 per month in debt that accumulates at the schools. So that was all amazing. And then beyond that, they didn't stop there. They really continued to talk about, well, what else do we need to do? And so both organizations are committed to long-term sustainability and working through the free and reduced price lunches applications and getting that information out to our families and communities and helping them with that process so that our families no longer have to have that burden. So we can't thank you all enough for your partnership with our schools and what it means for our community. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Just a few comments about both groups, if I may. So Safe Alamance last year, I believe, served 8,000 families 620,000 meals or something of that nature. I mean, folks, you know, we're a blessed community, and we're all blessed in this room today. 620,000 people served last year, just by one organization. That's amazing, and so we should applaud that within our community and make sure we celebrate that. Most of you have heard about United Way. I've been blessed in my life to be involved in United Way over the years, and they help with food, they also do transportation, financial literacy. They really take a family in need and lift them up and provide several opportunities to set them up for success down the road. You know, people need help, and if you need help, it's okay to ask for it, because this community here is to serve you. These two organizations are here to help you and serve you. So please, if you or anyone else you know that needs help, please reach out to these organizations. They're here to help you. Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins and Mr. Wagner. At this time, we will move into public comments, and tonight we have 5 speakers. As we move into the public comments portion of our meeting, I do take a quick opportunity to briefly review the board policy, section 2310, titled Public Participation at Board Meetings. The full policy can be found online at the ABSS website. Per board policy, individuals who have signed up may speak for up to 3 minutes. The timer will chime after exactly 3 minutes, and we do ask that you plan accordingly and respect any additional directions given. Profanity, making threats, or revealing confidential student or personal information will not be allowed. To our speakers, please be sure to address the members of the board with your comments and not the audience. To our board members, please remember we do not respond to speakers except to request clarification of points made by the speaker. And to the members of the audience, we ask that you refrain from clapping, snapping, or vocalizing at any time during public comments. When your name is called, please make your way to the podium, state your full name before beginning your comments. And our first speaker is Medora Burke-Skull.
Y'all, I wrote something down, so you know it's serious. All right. Good evening, board. My name is Medora Burke-Skull. I'm a science teacher at Eastern Alamance High School and the mother of students at E.M. Yoder and Woodlawn Middle School. I also serve as the president of the Alamance Burlington Association of Educators. Apologies for forgetting my red for ed, folks. It's clearly laundry day at the Burke-Skull-Pondelick household. I'm here today because what's happening in our schools is personal. We are watching student outcomes decline, and as both a teacher and a parent, it's heartbreaking. This isn't happening by accident. It's the result of choices. I see talented educators leaving the profession every single year. At my school, we recently lost one of our strongest math teachers, not because she didn't love teaching, but because she literally couldn't afford to stay. She was working 2 additional jobs as a single parent with young children, and when a higher paying opportunity came along, she had no choice. At the same time, we're cutting the very positions that support student success: graduation coaches, literacy specialists, testing coordinators, MTSS coordinators, and yet we're told to do more with less. As you know, all of our elementary folks are now trained in the science of reading. At all levels, we are trained to implement data-driven interventions. We're given mandates from the state, but not the staffing to make them real. I'm sure you realize that as educators, we all want to close the achievement gap. We have the data, we have the skills, we have the commitment. What we don't have are enough people in our buildings to do the work. You cannot teach a full classroom, manage problem behaviors, and deliver multiple targeted small group interventions all at the same time, not without support. We've all heard of the Mississippi Miracle, where their public schools were able to radically turn around literacy rates, and our very same ABSS teachers used that literacy training. We're ready. But what made that possible was an investment from the state level. Their legislature funded the staff needed to implement that dream. Right now in North Carolina, we're being asked to carry out really big ideas without the state level resources to back them up. This is what Kids Over Corporations is about. It's about priorities. Over the past decade, we've seen billions in tax cuts, while public schools like mine are left understaffed and under-resourced. ABAE is asking the legislature to put kids over corporations. And what I'm asking you for tonight is your support, the support to send your educators to Raleigh to ask for that, like to do our job, to advocate for our public schools. We are asking you to declare May 1st a teacher workday so that we can take our advocacy to the legislature. We're asking you to support us in this battle to help our state legislature finally pass a budget that restores the resources our public schools need. Thank you.
Thank you. That kind of spooked me. Our next speaker is Megan Hummel. Did I get that right? Hummel? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Megan Hummel, and I'm an EC teacher here in Alamance Burlington Schools. I'm writing to urge the board to recognize the importance of May 1st as a critical day for public education advocacy in North Carolina and to consider designating it as an optional teacher workday. On May 1st, educators from across the state plan to gather to advocate for strong public schools and the timely passage of a state budget that adequately supports students, teachers, and staff. This day represents more than a rally. It's an opportunity for educators to participate in the democratic process, to speak directly with lawmakers, and to highlight the real needs of our classrooms. Teachers are on the front lines of education every day. They understand firsthand the impact of funding decisions on class sizes, instructional resources, student support services, and staff retention. When educators are able to come together and share their experiences, it strengthens the case for policies that directly benefit our students and our communities. Allowing May 1st to be an optional teacher workday would demonstrate the board's respect for teachers as professionals and advocates. It would acknowledge that civic engagement is a vital part of sustaining a strong public education system. And importantly, it would give educators the flexibility to participate without disrupting instructional continuity for those who choose to remain in the classroom. Supporting this request sends a clear message that this district values the voices of its educators and recognizes that advocating for public schools is an extension of our commitment to students. I respectfully ask the board to consider this request and stand in support of the educators who work every day to serve our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Dr. Samira Khan. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Samira Khan, and I'm an educator. I currently teach at I used to teach at Alamance Community College, but I teach at Guilford Technical Community College. And I'm running for Alamance School Board, and I appreciate your support. And I believe that I have spent many, many years in education, and I'm very passionate about education, and I want to serve my community. I deeply want to serve my community, my teachers and my students, and my teachers and my students. So what I want to say, when almost 16 years ago, 2010, when I moved to Alamance, Burlington, I kind of first researched, because I'm a parent and I'm an immigrant. That's what we do. I'm an immigrant, I'm a parent, I'm English second language learner. And I researched that what type of public schools we have and what kind of job opportunities we have for teachers. And I was just kind of surprised that we don't have the best schools ratings in the country. And also Alamance County does not have the best job opportunities because our teacher retention is so low, because some of the reasons that were discussed earlier, because we don't pay our teachers enough. And I know some of these things are complicated, and I don't want to go deep into it, but what I want to say is that what I want to do is I want to support my community, and I believe that if you believe in something, if you think that you're passionate about something, and if you want to see a change, do it. Do it. I went to school, I got my PhD in leadership and education because I saw the need for my community, and this is my passion, this is my desire, to be part of this community and serve it in the best way I can. And thank you for your service here for school board, the fabulous school board we have. And I would love to be part of this school board and support what you guys are doing. I would love to be part of your team. and I support my teachers wholeheartedly. Everything you said, just beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Catherine Frazier.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Fleming. So, first of all, I have to say before I get into my comments, it warmed my heart to see all those Governor's School students up here. I was a Governor's School West alumnus from a long time ago. If anybody's still in the room, best summer of my life. Changed my life, so awesome. It's great to see that that's still alive and well. Last time I spoke up here, I was not yet a candidate for Board of Education, but that's new. I am now. So that's a new thing. Burlington resident, mom, accountant. Also, last time I spoke, I talked about curriculum and the importance, and not importance only, but the fascinating things that are happening with knowledge-rich curriculum. It's amazing. And I listened so intently during the last work session. I was like, oh, come on, what's it going to be? And I was so excited to see the work that was done. So thank you for that, for all that hard work. And I was happy to see that that curriculum is indeed a knowledge-building curriculum. So wonderful. Tonight, I want to plant a couple of seeds. I am interested, passionate, if you will, about educational technology and trends that are happening nationwide. I feel like every day I wake up and there's a new school, a new district, or a new country that is dialing back or decentralizing, if you will, educational technology and recentering the teacher, recentering our amazing teachers and paper and pencil learning, because these traditional methods work so well. It's not that technology doesn't work. Technology has amazing uses, but pencil and paper are highly effective and data-based. And so I just want to plant that seed. As we have opportunities to make new investments in digital hardware, in new contracts or contract renewals, I'd love to see this board really consider that evidence, the pros and the cons of each, and maybe even have some of that public discourse about why certain decisions are being made. And so I think this is something that us parents talk about a lot, and there is concern out there about how much screen time the kids are getting in the classroom. I'm sure we're all concerned about that. We're all trying to do the right thing. But seeing that discourse, and so that we have a better sense of where those decisions are coming from, would be very effective and welcome. So that's the seed I'm going to plant tonight. Appreciate everybody's work, and everybody on the board, and especially the teachers who are executing this tireless work. Thank you all.
Thank you. And our last speaker tonight is Tabitha Boswell.
All right. Colleagues, board members, and community partners, my name is Tabitha Boswell. I am the Vice President of Alamance Burlington Association of Educators. I'm speaking tonight not just as the Vice President of our local, but as someone who stands shoulder to shoulder with public school workers to keep Alamance County schools running every single day. May 1st is not just another date on the calendar. It is a date rooted in history of workers standing together to demand resources and respect that they need to do their jobs well. And this year, public school workers from across North Carolina are taking that message directly to Raleigh. We are going not to disrupt learning, but to defend it. Right now, we are asking our schools to do more than ever before. We're implementing new literacy mandates, strengthening MTSS frameworks, addressing learning gaps, managing increased behavior needs, and supporting students' mental health, all while facing staffing shortages that stretch our capacity to the limit. This is not small tasks. They require investment. They require people. They require a budget that matches the expectations placed on our schools and our schools districts. Turning May 1st in a teacher workday acknowledges a simple reality. Many of our educators will be in Raleigh that day, advocating for the very resources our students need to succeed. Rather than forcing schools to scramble for coverage or to operate understaffed, we are asking you to prioritize safety, continuity, and respect for this profession. This is not about political theater. This is about whether our classrooms have enough trained adults, whether we have enough interventionists, and whether our students get the support they deserve. Our teachers deserve it. And a teacher workday for May 1st ensures that learning is not disrupted by absence, and it strengthens by advocacy. It gives educators that space to stand up for their students and then return better equipped to serve them. We often say we value education. This is a chance to prove it. I urge you to please make May 1st a teacher workday. Stand with your educators and your public school workers as they go to Raleigh to demand a budget that meets the needs of our schools and school districts. Because when we fight for educators, we're fighting for students. And when we fight for students, we're fighting for our future. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment section for this evening. Thank you to all who came out and spoke this evening. We appreciate having you here. We will now segue into F1 for superintendent business and an update on May 1st.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the board. I hope everyone is doing well, and hope everyone's having a good April so far. I did want to update the board because, as you just heard, and also as you see in the media, in social media, there is a planned rally in Raleigh on May 1st by the North Carolina Association of Educators. And we have really seen the impact of those plans in our absences. As of this afternoon, within just a few hours ago, we currently have, and for certified only, we have 483 logged absences, and we have 276 unfilled jobs by substitute teachers, which roughly means we have 200 subs that have agreed to sub, and 276 positions still, or vacancies still awaiting a substitute. Obviously, that doesn't count classified staff. I've heard from our transportation staff, we have a number of bus drivers planning on going to Raleigh that day and obviously not working, and then also some other ancillary positions as well, support positions as well. And so in terms of teachers in front of students, we're at a number that far exceeds what we're able to keep up with as far as safety of students, coverage of classrooms. We've far exceeded that in the number of substitute teachers available. I want to make it very clear I support all of our teachers, not just teachers, administrators, and other personnel for advocating for public schools. I do that on behalf of the School Superintendent Association and the School Administrator Association, just as our teachers do with ABAE or NCAE or really any of our professionals do for the associations that they're in. But the disappointing part of this is it's going to be if we do have the day off or take an optional work day, I shouldn't say a day off, but have an optional work day, no student day, we know this will be a significant burden to parents that are getting less than a week notice if this goes through, that we will not have school, and they of course have to find care for their students, particularly younger students. And so that part is disappointing. We are cognizant of that and aware of that. We know there's going to be some negative pushback if we go down this road. And so if I had anything else with this, be disappointed. It is a school day. And frankly, while May 1st has a significant history when it comes to the labor movement, it is a day that our General Assembly will not be in Raleigh that day. So that also is another concern that I felt like I needed to share, that hopefully that message will still get through even though members won't be in town. So I come before you this evening, and it comes down to safety of our schools, to present three options for you to consider. Option one, which I know in the room here is probably not the most preferred option necessarily, but that would be because of the lack of coverage, would be deny the use of personal leave on May 1st and require documentation of any sick leave used, and that would be within policy. The second option would be for May 1st be an optional teacher workday with a makeup on June 8th. That's really where I probably was headed as far as a recommendation earlier in working with Dr. McWhorter and Mr. Hook and all, us really taking a look at the school calendar. We believe there's enough hours in there that we can still get 1,025 hours without making the day up. And so really your third option would be May 1st as an optional teacher work day and no makeup day, which would probably be the best of those two options. But we would have to find a way, or we would have to go back and deny any leave on May 1st because we are 200 we have a 200 substitute deficit, if you will. Happy to answer any questions and happy to at this point to recommend that we go with that third option, the May 1st optional teacher workday with no makeup. But again, I want to say this just for our whole community, that we appreciate any grace that we're shown on this, because I know it's not easy. And again, I don't like interrupting student days. We know where we are when it comes to academics and where we are with data. I still believe we'll be okay. I don't want to use that as a reason we shouldn't do it, but we want our students and our teachers and everyone in school every day. Again, we understand the advocacy piece, but happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Questions from board members? Mr. Wagner?
Dr. Fleming, thanks for the information and data. So we have at this current time 272 vacant positions.
276, and it may be more now. That was as of a few hours ago.
And I pretty much know the answer to this. The opportunity to us fill 1/3 of those between now and May 1st is pretty much zero.
That's right. You would have to have, well, you know, substitutes can still accept jobs up to Friday.
Right.
I think it's going to be hard to fill 276 of them, yes.
And with just guessing here and asking the question, with half a staff in our school systems, I'm assuming that it would be, I wouldn't say pure chaos, but I'm sure there'd be opportunities there to have learning interrupted for various reasons.
Well, that's right. We actually looked, you know, if we use central office staff as substitutes, if we used some others, you know, when we were looking at 50, 60 unfilled positions there, we probably could have found a way to do some of that internally, combine classes, but it's to a point where we can't fill 200. I mean, at the end of the day, we cannot find coverage for almost 300 students.
Thank you, sir.
In some schools, I will say, in some schools we might be able to. I want to make that clear, because the numbers are not very high in some schools, and then obviously others that's very high. So.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Mr. Rogers, we'll just kind of come down the line if that's okay. Mr. Rogers?
All right, so just going back through the options. First option is to deny May 1st. And then just to clarify on the option 2 and 3, option 2 is an optional teacher workday and a makeup on June the 8th. And then the third option is no makeup. Am I correct?
That's correct. And just so everyone knows, that June 8th makeup would be the Monday. School is supposed to end on Friday, so we would go to school on Monday, June 8th.
Okay. Well, and then I guess it's just a comment because, like you said, I mean, it is a tough spot because of the time of year and wanting to have the students in class, but also I think we're in a unique situation we're the only state in the United States without a state budget. I mean, there are state legislators that says we have a state budget, but truly we don't. I mean, I can sit up here and say a whole bunch of things that doesn't make it actual facts. But so I do understand the advocacy piece, and I'm a person who's all about advocating for yourself and using your own voice and making sure that you can stand up for public education and to see different things and folks who want to do stuff to support public education, and our teachers are the front lines of that, along with our bus drivers, TAs, and other support staff. So I just just another comment to just make in that is, just as a member of this board, our teachers are asked every day to do a lot of things, to hold up a lot of things in our school system, and the level of support that they're doing this with is extraordinary, especially when you see that our state is not doing and not holding up their end of the bargain on what they should do. And you even recently had the Supreme Court throw out the Leandro case, even though the General Assembly never really did anything with that over that time frame of the Leandro case sitting out there. So I applaud anybody who wants to stand up and advocate for yourself. I applaud you wanting to go to the source. There's multiple ways to do this, but whatever way you seem fit and what you want to do, I'm a big supporter of that. And I think my opinion, I think we should allow for our educators to have that space to go down there and advocate for themselves.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Dr. Parker?
So I'm generally supportive of staff recommendation for option 3. The way you said we need to check to make sure we have enough hours. Are you sure we have enough hours?
We are, yeah, we have. The reason why we still gave that option 2 was just if we didn't want to lose any within the bank we have, but we would be safe not having a makeup day.
Got it. So I may have a comment depending on what the motion comes out to be, but that's my only question.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Ms. Harvey?
I just want to say I will always support our teachers. I will always support what they want to do. You guys have a big task that's put before you. And some days I'm sure when you walk in the classroom, you don't even know how you're going to fulfill that task. I believe that if you believe in something and you believe that it's right within your heart, that you should advocate for it. You should speak up about it. You should be present to say how you feel about the situation. I am wholeheartedly in support of option 3. I will say it does sadden me just a little bit because Friday is college decision day for our high school seniors. So they will not get to partake in the decision day. But even in spite of that, I do support option 3.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Dr. Hall?
I don't know if I have a whole lot to add other than I appreciate the advocacy that you are showing here. Obviously, as a parent, I will be scrambling to figure out what I'm going to do with my children on Friday also, but I completely understand, and it's time for me to step up and do that while you support yourself. So,
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Mr. Engel?
I may talk a while. All of you, thank you for being teachers. And I know what you're going through because I've got family members that teach in ABSS. And it's tough right now. It's tough for teachers all over the state. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It's been almost a year and there's still no state budget. How does that affect you? Well, I'm going to tell you how it affects you. And if I'm wrong, shake your head no. You're paying more for insurance right now. I know one that's working 3 jobs because they can't afford it on their school salary. And what does that do to that teacher? Well, they don't have the time for preparation, so, if they do, they're staying up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, a lot of them. People don't understand that. They need to understand that. It is an abomination that the state has not passed a budget already, period. We're almost into another budget year, and I don't mind saying that. Get the budget passed. And, the rest of that abomination is there's a majority party there. They ought to get it passed. I know now we have a new governor, but as far as the General Assembly, they should have passed that months ago. So I'm not happy about that. But I'm in agreement with Dr. Fleming and what he said, and let's go with option number 3. And that's your First Amendment right to go down there and raise sand. So have at it.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. I think I'll just kind of echo what everybody else has said. As school board leaders, we have to balance the advocacy of our teachers and show them the support and the respect that they deserve, and also balance that, there is a loss of an instructional day. And what that looks like, I think, the burden to the families that you mentioned. But at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do. It just is. And I think I've been watching social media for the last 2 weeks and all the districts and the back and forth and the comments. And I think for those people who are really passionate, I'm hoping that you'll throw a lot of that passion behind our educators and not focus on what we are or aren't doing here as far as making this a teacher work day, but the why. Why are we making this a teacher work day? And it's because our teachers across the state are not getting the support that they deserve. And that's not just financial support, but that's just support in general. I think there was one of the comments I read that, our teachers should be our most revered employment. And I think with COVID, we got a little insight of that. I think people and families really started to recognize and see the importance of the educator, particularly when they became somewhat of that educator. And I think it did show that a teacher appreciation and what that teacher means to the student, to their academic experience. But I will just say, I stand behind the educators. So if no one has anything else to add, I would more than happy to entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make the motion. We approve option number 3 with no makeup day in support of our teachers and again, support you guys.
Second. No. Yeah. Whichever one. Yeah, whichever one. Yeah.
Okay, Karen, I'll let you pick on who seconded that motion. There is a motion and a second on the floor for recommendation 3 from Dr. Fleming to declare May 1st an optional teacher work day for our educators. Any other discussion?
Just one more point,
Oh, yes,
if I
sir.
may, Madam Chair. Thank you for being an EC teacher. I appreciate you. It's hard to find EC teachers. I wonder why. And I know in some of these schools we may not have but one EC teacher, and I see some hands going up, and they may have 40 or 50 cases, and that's a lot of work. So I just want to say thank you. I'm through.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Dr. Parker.
Yeah, I said I might have a comment.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's a question. I'm very supportive of the teachers going to advocate the difficulties as far as the teacher pay. I know things have been going backwards with the cost of insurance, and it's very disappointing from that standpoint. I don't have. I've never had that happen to me personally, and I can't imagine the kind of financial hardship that causes, and especially the loss of support staff. The people who look from the outside wonder, what do these people do? Well, there are a lot of things. The graduation coaches. We could always use more counselors. I mean, the whole gamut of them. Support the teachers and help to provide the environment that makes learning possible. So very, very happy to support the change in the calendar, and best of luck and your trip to the Capitol.
All right, so there is a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously 7-0. All right, and just to reiterate for our families, May 1st, Friday, is a teacher work day. And to reiterate, it will not be time made up, correct?
That's correct, and we will make sure we get that pushed out to media and to families this evening or first thing in the morning. That might be where Emily Lynn ran off to.
All righty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I will turn the floor over to Dr. McWhorter for CTE curriculum update.
Madam Chair, Dr. Fleming, members of the board, I would just like to take a few moments of your time to review some of the, I'll say, the latest CTE data that we've had from our work keys and such from this academic school year. Sort of like we did with the EOC update, we'll provide some information for data trends to give you guys a baseline as well, so you know how we're doing. So with the baseline data, if you go back to 23-24 and compare ABSS with the state, you will see that ABSS was at a 71.1% proficiency rate, which is fantastic, versus the state's proficiency rate of 69. Last year, 24-25, we dropped 0.2 of a point, was negligible, to 70.9 versus the state, who actually came up a little bit to 69.6. So CTE, technical education, as many of you have seen through visits in our schools, is definitely a strong point in ABSS and something that's been a point of pride for many years. So very proud that that is an area that we have been above state average ongoing. So now when we look at just fall semester versus fall semester, because that's the only data that we have right now for this year, go back from 23 to 24, you can see that the fall semester in ABSS was at a high of 72.2, dropped to 70, and now we are above that previous high at 72.6 versus the state's fall semester data, which has actually continued to drop over the past 3 years. So that is articulated for you both numerically and by line graph. So whichever is your preferred. Looking at credentials, which when it comes to CTE, achieving those credentials is vitally important, and really we feel as though it sets up our students to go straight into the work profession and bring something with them that says, I have mastered this, or I am proficient at this. And so as you can see, our credential rate almost unanimously across the board has increased year over year at almost every single one of our schools, with the only exception to this being Western Elements High School, which is due to staffing. So loss either of positions or things that you can't foresee. We are a people business, and when people have to take emergency leave and such, I hate to say it, but these things do happen. It is real life. And that's what happened at Western Elements. So, but overall, we're killing it with credentials. Now, you'll see below where the state goal is 28.2%, and you might think like 28.2. So those goals were set, I want to say, over a decade ago, and the state has not updated them. So they were back before credentialing was really a big thing. I think when we might have had like a 7% credential rate. So I have heard that the state will be updating those across the board, hopefully this coming year. So you can please disregard the state goal. So essentially, how did we get here? I wish Terry Drummond, our CTE director, was here to speak on this part in a little bit more detail. She is a sick parent that she is supporting this evening. So focusing on credentials. So making sure that every course that offers a credential, our students are taking that credential. So it's just a normal part of taking the course. It's not something that we're opting out of. We're embedding, you find this shocking, data-driven coaching. So based on what our data is telling us and how students are performing, our teachers are receiving additional coaching and support, just as our schools. We have expanded the health sciences pathway. Those courses are always busting at the seams. So trying to take a look at what our students are signing up for and offering courses that are of higher interest. And I will use some of Terry's words on this. Taking a look at courses and programs that need to be sunset versus those that we need to look at and explore and open up to appeal to student interests and to make sure that what we're offering is something that students can actually get a job in, right? Has that practical application. And along with the data-driven coaching, tracking the multi-year performance, right? And making sure that we're putting our emphasis where it needs to be. So many of the same strategies that you'll notice from our standard academics to CTE, because good teaching is good teaching. Practices to improve teaching and learning are practices to improve teaching and learning across the board. What questions might I be able to answer?
Thank you, Dr. McWhorter. Questions from the board? Mr. Rogers?
Well, I guess one part is a question on, you said with the state goal that was set decades ago, you said they're possibly going to be looking at changing that.
Yeah,
state
so
government.
I was talking with Ms. Drummond about that because it caught my eye the same way as like, that is really far off. And I'm estimating when I say a decade ago, I would have to check back to see when that goal was previously set. And it's just set to incrementally increase year over year without necessarily paying attention to how our data or what our data actually is.
All right, appreciate that. And then just a comment, because this is great information, great data to see, especially around the credentials that are being attained by our students. Because I've done talked about my nephew multiple times, but he's a student who's done received various credentials from Adobe and now things through his welding work and stuff like that. So this is just great because of the fact that one pathway to success is not the same for every student. And so having those CTE courses, having those opportunities for our students to try various things and to really jump into things that might be their interests and can really enhance that, and then get credentials in it, possibly right out of high school, go into jobs in those certain fields, or get an opportunity to apprentice with a job that then just wants you to add a couple of other things to being able to work, I think is very vital in these times, especially because, like I said, the pathways to success don't look the same for everyone, but it's great to see how ABSS continues to enhance and drive that there are more pathways to what you want to do, and allowing for those students to jump into those things and follow those various dreams or admirations or different ambitions that they have. So it's great to see, and especially to see the growth of what's happening through our CTE programs.
And those truly are other pathways to success. These fields pay very well.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Ms. Harvey?
I just want to say CTE is absolutely amazing. For our kids just to have that opportunity to be able to do something, leave out of high school with a certificate, who might not want to go to college, but is able to get out here in a working field and make decent money to be able to survive. I mean, I look at my daughter Fruity, who already has her certificate in CNA. So, to already be certified as a CNA and you're just 18, haven't even graduated from high school, how amazing is that? And I think that for the parents listening, these are things that we really need to have our kids involved in, and we need for them to take the welding class and the firefighter, and the just whatever is offered, and just understanding that there is so many different pathways now, and just giving our kids an opportunity is absolutely amazing. I love it. Just it makes my heart happy to talk about it, and just to know that our kids in ABSS have a great opportunity for when they get ready to leave our schools.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Dr. Hall, and then we'll go to Mr. Wagner.
I would just want to piggyback on what Ms. Harvey was saying. I think when we did the legislators tour recently and seeing all those students and the choices that they have, I know there's some legislators always talk about school choice. It's like we have great choices in our school district by what we offer here. And then just two quick questions. So obviously the first data shows proficiencies and then the credentials, and those are different. Are there state data that around credentials? I know there's a goal, but is there data for comparison as far as like how
I am sure there is.
Okay.
I just don't have it yet.
All right. And then you also mentioned something about what programs we might be thinking about exploring those opportunities, and then some possibly sunsetting. Is that something that you're able to talk about here at this time, or?
I prefer not to at this point, if that would be okay.
Another day. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Wagner.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Warder. One of my favorite words is ditto, so ditto to my colleagues here. Growing up in the 70s and 80s, we had home ec class. Now, I still can't bake, but, it's great that our students have an alternative path to success. And, not every student is going to be an A or a B student. They may struggle with academics regardless of how well we teach and how well we work with them. But there are choices and opportunities that we are providing, this community provides for our students to have success outside of the classroom. And I'm very excited to see the success of this program. I think it's something we should expand upon and celebrate each time. And again, it's our job here as a board to ensure that we're following proper policy and supporting our teachers and staff, and also advocating for our students. Advocating for our students, whether or not they want to go to college or not, but also letting them know there are other pathways to success rather than just an academic book. I'm not knocking academics at all whatsoever, but some kids just like alternative pathways, and I'm very excited to have that here in Alamance County. Appreciate what you guys are doing. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Anybody else?
Just
Dr. Parker?
Yeah, just to reiterate the comments about how, that the results are graded. Dr. Holt took a couple of my questions as far as aligning what programs we offer with what we're doing. I'll say that I think everyone should take Python, especially if you're in STEM. My youngest is doing it now and is excitedly looking forward to the certification exam that's in, as well. So I think it's great that that's integrated as a part of the course and not an optional or something that you sign up for. That it's just part of the process, because like many parents, my kids manage me with information, and I might not have even heard about it if I hadn't been closely monitoring things. So the results look great, and so really no question, just an extended comment. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Parker. Thank you, Mr. McWhorter. Dr. McWhorter.
Thank you.
All right. We will kick off board and superintendent comments, and we'll kick those off with Dr. Fleming.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everybody. We have completed our rezoning process, and I want to let everyone know that postcards to the affected families are going out this week. And we have opened a special transfer window from May 1st to the 15th. By policy, the first year of a redistricting, you are not able to get an approved transfer, but also in the policy, when we've got to look at this, it requires a transfer window, a special transfer window for redistricting. So we are going to follow both of those directives in the policy. And again, we may need to go back and look and work with the School Board Association on how that conflicts a little bit. I want to thank our legislative delegation, county commissioners, and all of you, our school board, for participation in the Take Your Legislators to School Day. I've heard so many positive comments from those in attendance, and so I also want to thank the schools that served for hosting that day as well. So thank you for your participation. I will tell you from our commissioners and our legislators, they were really either not amazed because they knew great things were going on in our schools, but I also will tell you they were amazed by the teachers they saw, and in some ways the facilities they saw, and so it was really a positive day, I think. Our strategic planning process is moving forward with an estimated completion date before July 1, and we plan to get and thanks to all of our groups that participated, and we plan to have that turned around and show you the revised plan in June, either May or June, and get your approval on that, or I think we may just be presenting it, but to get that out there before July 1 when it officially starts. I believe he was in here earlier. Mr. Eric Yarborough and I presented on the school district's work in AI in the classroom, as well as the cell phone legislation last Sunday at the Holzhauser Legislator Retreat in Durham, and I appreciate the invitation from the Hunt Institute to show how we are working on these relevant topics in our schools, and that was a fun time. And then, just as a reminder, our Excellence in Education event is Tuesday the 5th, that'll be May 5th, at the First Presbyterian Church in Burlington, and of course, this is where we name our next Teacher of the Year, and so I hope to see all of you there. And just as a reminder, our next meeting will be Tuesday, May 12th at 12:30 p.m., and that will be for our May work session. And Madam Chair, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Any questions for Dr. Fleming? All right, who wants to go next?
Actually, I'll go first this time, and that way Avery
right.
complain about things.
Dr. Parker.
So I'd like to say congratulations to the 14 students going to governor's school. It's fantastic, just like Catherine Fraser said, and it's a fantastic experience and a great opportunity. I'd like to say thanks to the folks who gave and the organizations who gave gifts to the district, and I'll read them off here so everyone else doesn't have to. The New Leaf Society, United Way, Phillips Chapel Church, and All for Lunch. And it was great to hear about the work as far as helping with the free and reduced lunch applications. The thing that's not emphasized enough is those applications are not just reimbursement for lunch, but it's tied to a lot of other funding sources, and the percentages, it matters in a lot of other programs as well. So that help is much appreciated. And I'll say again, for the teachers and other staff going to the Capitol on May 1st, I'm again very supportive of the effort that as from a teacher's pay and support staff standpoint. I know that so the United States it doesn't really have May Day. We have Labor Day because I think Grover Cleveland didn't like it being then and changed it to September. But it's International Workers' Day, and a long time ago. So I guess it was I read this in 1965. Pope Pius the 12th named it the feast day of Saint Joseph the Worker because the communists were very excited and he thought he would fix their little red wagon, pun intended. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parker.
No,
Mr. Rogers.
I'll go. I'll go. Give Avery some more time or others, because you got to appreciate what history lessons Dr. Parker can give you too. But first off, I want to just thank all of the cabinet and Dr. Fleming for all of y'all work and everything that y'all are doing every day, and what was presented to us this evening from the CTE. Data, also to Dr. Davis, your work with the Elon students. Thank y'all to the Elon students on y'all's work with our policies, and y'all did a great job in the presentation and the recommendations, so thank y'all for that. Also to anyone who made public comments tonight, thank y'all for always coming out and making those public comments. Using that 3 minutes to advocate, to voice out things, or to put little tea leaves out there for stuff that we need to think about. So thank y'all for that also. Then also I just want to thank all of our school staff, from our educators to our teachers in the classroom, to our bus drivers, coaches, TAs, support staff, to the folks that our counselors and social workers, to the folks that are sitting there in our offices every day that are, for some parents or various folks, they're usually the first representation of ABSS when they walk into those schools. So thank you to everyone who makes our system work every day and works so hard. Thank you to all of our students. I've really enjoyed it's prom season, so I've enjoyed looking at all of the various prom pictures, seeing people who are getting these kings and queens. This was our last year with our nephew going to prom. I think that me and him did a great job on the suit. I think we did a great job on the suit. He was looking very fly, if I should say so myself. But yeah, him and his date looked great. But prom season is always enjoyable. It's always, I think Miss Harvey was telling us earlier that it's also a headache sometimes. But I guess this year I didn't have to deal with the headache because I was out of town, so I just had to deal with stuff up to that point. But also too, I just want to, I guess, sometimes you hear preachers in church that always say, hey, we're on this certain subject. So I might be in my either leadership era or something on things to talk about. So I did like Medora. I wrote this down so I can make sure that I hit my main points, I guess, and not just rattle off stuff. So I want to just take a moment to speak about something that gives me tremendous hope. The strength, resilience, and the heart of Alamance Burlington school system. Every day across ABSS, I see teachers who refuse to give up on a child. I see principals who knows every student by name. I see staff members who show up early, stay late, and make sure our schools feel like safe, welcoming places. And I see students who are curious, creative, determined, and full of potential. This is the spirit of our community. Yes, we face challenges, real ones. We have funding gaps that force us to stretch local dollars further than they were ever meant to go. We have buildings that do need repairs. We have classrooms that need things. And we have staff who deserve more support than the current resources allow. But even with those challenges, our people continue to rise. They continue to give their best. They continue to believe in ABSS and what it can be. And that is why I am hopeful all the time for our district. Because when a community has this much heart, this much talent, and this much commitment to its children, there is nothing we cannot build together. Our job as a board is to keep pushing for the resources our students and staff deserve. But it's also our job to lift up the incredible work already happening in our schools. And believe me, there is incredible work that is always happening in our schools, contrary to what some people want to make you believe. Work that proves every day that ABSS is stronger than its obstacles. I believe in this district. I believe in our teachers, our staff, our families, and our students. And I believe in the future that we are building one classroom, one school, and one child at a time. And I believe that we can stand together when we advocate together, and we can keep our focus on what truly matters. ABSS will continue to grow, improve, and shine, and our story is not defined by its challenges. It is truly defined by our people, and our people give me every reason to be inspired every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Wagner?
I'll take the responsibility. I'm going to go first next time because I'm following this. First of all, I use the terminology fly. I've not heard that in decades, so thanks for taking me back. As Mr. Rogers made those wonderful comments, you know, I look at our Elon students and I think about your mascot, the Phoenix. And that's the way I look at ABSS today. You know, we've had some very low points over the last 4 to 6 years. We've had several challenges. Administration turnover, less support for staff. Do you know, but I was sitting here listening to Mr. Rogers and looking at you three young ladies. I think the Phoenix applies to this county and this Board of Education, these kids, students, and teachers. And folks, we are rising. We are getting better. We're getting better with the support of our county commissioners, hopefully with the support of state legislatures, this Board of Education, and this administration. We are getting better. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and our resurrection is not going to happen in 24 hours. You know, we talked earlier about, you know, businesses coming to Alamance County, hope in part because of our public education, but also they want to invest into our community. When a business moves to a specific community, they do it for various reasons. Public education is one, support financially from the community is another, but also long term they have a vision of returns on their capital. They have a vision on the returns on their capital. I view that as this Board of Education doing that today. We need to invest today for the future success of our students tomorrow. I've said this 4, 5, 6 times. This will be my 7th time. They are the future of Alamance County. So the dollars we invest into our teachers and our staff, and our facilities and our administration today may not produce results tomorrow, although we are seeing quality results in academics, accounting, facilities, personnel. We're seeing positive results, but the money we invest today will show positive growth in the very near future. We couldn't do it without you as teachers, staff members, and families here at ABSS. Seniors, you probably starting a little senioritis right now. Slow down a little bit. That day's going to come, and we're excited for you, but enjoy the time you have left. Give all you can at your schools and be respectful for your teachers. And teachers, for you guys, be safe in travels to Raleigh. We hope it goes well. We'll continue to support you, and thanks for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Ms. Harvey?
I was okay until Seneca began to read his prepared speech that he has. So I'm gonna get my thank yous out first. Thank you to Safe Alamance and United Way for helping out with our lunch debt. That is major because it makes sure it allows for our students to eat each and every day and not have to worry if they don't have that money to pay for that meal. So huge thank you to them. Thank you to students from Elon. I just want to make sure it's your senior year, so I'm sure you guys are excited about graduation. And thank you for, diving into that policy because sometimes when you're reading those policies, you're like, what does this mean and where are we going here? But thank you guys so much. Thank you to our speakers for comments. I'm going to say it a million times. It's not easy standing behind that podium in front of the board, speaking on things that really, matter to you, things that are important to you. So thank you so much for that. Huge congratulations to all of the students who were accepted to go to governor's school. Listen, I was never accepted to go to governor's school, okay? I'm just going to tell you, I didn't even think about it. But listen, that just goes to say that education and academics is important within this school system. We hear people talk a lot about, how our kids are not smart. Listen, all you have to do is come to these school board meetings. All you have to do is pay attention, and you're going to see that we are producing great students within this school system. Don't listen to what people say. Listen to what's being shown. Listen to what's being proven each and every day for our students in ABSS. Let me just say this. I made it through prom. Saturday was prom, and I thought, I'm not going to make it. There was plenty of times I gave up and said, you know what, I can't do this. But we made it, and today is Monday. Now someone else has to go through prom. I am here tonight because of great teachers, because someone along the way believed in me. Someone along the way gave me that extra push to say, there is nothing that you can't do. That is what our teachers do each and every day when those students step inside of those classrooms. That's what our admin does when those students walk inside the school building. There is some kid who really thinks, I cannot make it, I cannot go another day. And then there's that person pushing them to say, you are more than enough. You are going to be somebody. I can't thank you enough for all that you do. What you're doing, you're planting so many seeds. And one day you're going to see those seeds sprout, and they're going to grow into amazing adults that's going to do great things in this county, in this state, in this country. So for our teachers who are going on Friday to advocate for what is right, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You just don't know what you're doing for our students. You don't know what you're doing for the person who can't go on Friday, but they're in the classroom next to you, but they want to go, but they just don't have that voice. You are their voice. I can't say thank you enough for all of the ones that are within our schools every day doing the work that needs to be done, continuing to hold up even when it is tough to do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Dr. Engel, Mr. Engel.
He works at ACC, Dr. Engel. Elon students, congratulations. Thank you for what you did. I've got a Elon student coming next year. She got the Thad Ure, honorable Thad Ure scholarship, so she's got a full ride for 4 years. I try my best to get her to get it in athletics, and all the while she was smart, and I didn't know it. I wasn't paying attention, so anyhow, yeah, she got the academic scholarship, so I'm proud of her, and she'll graduate from Southeast Alamance here in about a month and be heading that way in about a semester. So I know y'all guys will be gone then, and good luck to you in your endeavors down the road. Teachers, y'all responsible, all of you, for about 23,000 students, Dr. Fleming, I think?
Just shy of that.
Just shy of 23,000 students. 80% of the kids in Alamance County still go to public school. And when I was a county commissioner, I worked hard to keep that supplement up. And I see a lot of you saying, yeah, and I did. But somehow it's slipped back down. So I'm hopeful that they'll get it back up. I really am. And we've got some good commissioners, so I hope they'll work with us and help us out on that. That's what I'm hopeful for. Our chair and I, we had the opportunity to participate in mock interviews over at Eastern Alamance High School, and I'm gonna tell you something. Those were some great kids, just as polite and smart as a whip, every single one of them. And that's what we've got in this county. And it's because of you guys sitting back there, a lot of it. You have a big influence on these kids. And then also, I enjoyed going out with our local delegation And Graham High School, they've got some great things going on with their programs, teaching those firefighters, and also, listen, a welder makes good money now. I want y'all to know that. I mean, one of them told me, what, 55 or 60,000 a year starting. Good night. It makes me want to go back to school maybe and learn how to weld. But that's enough. But listen, good luck to you on your endeavor going to Raleigh, teachers. And I don't know whether any of my folks are going. I got 3 that teach in the system, but I don't know. One of them I know she's going to rest. She's burnt out and broke out in the hives, and she's an EC teacher, by the way. So I see it. I'm through, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Dr. Hall?
Definitely some tough acts to follow here. I think just start off by reiterating what Samika said with thank you to everybody. I think we're seeing in our school district a lot of great things going on. I took notes from Mr. Rogers over there, and I think this is sort of a great theme. I believe in this district. I believe in our people. I think that's what I see all the time when I'm interacting in our community. I had the chance to be a part of the strategic planning, moving that forward and seeing everybody come together, the community, staff, teachers, everybody trying to think about like how to keep moving us forward was really inspirational, and was I learned a lot, but I saw a lot of dedicated people thinking about like every day like how we're going to keep on moving forward. I've spent a fair amount of time in the schools. I enjoyed take the Legislators School Day. I like that name of it. Just seeing all the options that what our students have in our district, and seeing everybody who makes that happen, right? Everybody who makes that happen. I've had a chance to do a couple walk-arounds with principals. I was at Elon Elementary with Principal Hurdle, and Alamance Ossipee with Principal Mospaul. And once again, just to see the dedication of our teachers every day in the classroom and all the other people who are supporting them to make sure that our students are successful. Had a chance to do some career days at EM Holt and Elon Elementary, and same thing is the people who come out in our community to support our children is really important. I also realized that being a college professor as a career day is not very exciting, so I had to talk about some fun stuff like sports and science, which is there. The sock puppet is always a big hit. DJ's big hit. First responders big hits. I get it, but hard to compete, and I have to be more careful what I do in the future there. And I also just coming up, I know it's testing season coming up here soon, and it's a lot of work. And I know that we're going to do really well and be able to demonstrate the growth that we've had in this limited time. But we're running a marathon here. This isn't a sprint, right? So we need the resources to continue to help out with that. And then lastly, I have one last little shout out. Saturday was not prom season for my son, but it was Science Olympiad was over in Greensboro. And Elon Elementary, JV squad placed first, varsity squad placed third. My son and his partner Ava won golds in all 3 of the events that they did. And that is once again possible only because of the teachers who helped oversee that, the parents who volunteered, the Elon students who volunteered, and all the people that made that happen. It's not just one person, it's a community. It's all those people made that happen for those students, and to see the excitement that they had from that experience, I think, just once again demonstrates what we do here and how we want to keep on supporting it as a board. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Okay, I'll try to make mine short and sweet, but I'm quite excited. Okay, so again, just to ditto a lot of the comments that you guys made, particularly the thank yous to the Elon students, to the speakers tonight, United Way, to SAFE. But I like to do my board comments kind of like around the district and what we as board members have been up to. So a shout out to Miss Taylor. I participated in the Battle of the Books competition for the first year at the elementary school level. It was absolutely just amazing and extremely impressive. So shout out to Miss Taylor. Tamika and Seneca and I participated in the teacher cadet class in a panel about board member service. So shout out to Miss Boyd and Miss Boyd and Miss Hoffberg. Todd Davis, great job with Women in Sports Celebration. Tamika was on the panel. A great way to recognize female athletes and coaches across the district. was excited to be part of the FFA rechartering at Eastern High School. As an FFA parent, that program for my kids, 2 of my 3 children traveled all over the state and the United States, participating at the regional and state and national levels. Just an amazing program. So I'm so excited to see that come back to Eastern High School. Several of you have talked about the legislative day with our state legislators and our Board of Commissioners. That was a lot of fun, and we got to see a lot, and they got to see a lot, and I think that was important. Education and Workforce Committee meeting. Alamance Community Foundation did a presentation on what they've done for the community, and a big piece of that was their generosity to ABSS. If you have not taken a look at donorschoose.org, it is a great platform for community to pick and choose what projects they want to support. And a lot of times Impact Alamance does dollar for dollar match. So it's a great opportunity to fund our classrooms. And then I did a career day at Haw River Elementary, great questions. And then you mentioned the mock interviews that we did at Eastern with Miss Kirby, so shout out to her for that. And then I did stop by the Global Night at Smith Elementary, where each of the grade levels, I think, did different countries or different regions. It was very exciting. They had, the Buzz Choir? Buzz Club sang and did some musical presentations from the regions. It was very well attended. Lots of little stations were set up, and I got to see the art show too. So that was pretty cool. Congratulations to Southern Middle School's Hunter Safety Team. Special shout out to Dr. Davis and her work with Alamance Citizens for a Drug-Free Community that did the annual survey that we do for our students, and to the 491 parents that opted in for those student surveys. And then lastly, I had the opportunity to read in Miss Baker's 2nd grade class at Smith Elementary. And we read a new book. I had not been exposed to, The Yellow Bus. If you haven't read it, it is a fabulous book about community and different ways that you find joy and that you find meaning and that an impact. Very, very cool book. It was also Earth Day, so I was going to share with you, it's really short, a little poem that the kids wrote about Earth Day. It's called Change. C is care for the plants and animals that share the piece of the earth on which you live. H is heed the words of the indigenous nations living in the Amazon rainforest and follow their lead. A is to act to teach people in your community about the negative effects of deforestation. N, never forget that we were all connected to the earth and one another. G, grow your own plants using environmentally responsible practices. And E, expand your awareness and appreciation of the many different cultures and ecosystems that exist on Earth. I don't know that in 2nd grade I even knew what deforestation was. Extremely impressive group of children. Now that brings me to the best part, and then I'm finishing up. Is my little friends in the 2nd grade at Smith Elementary made me little cards of school improvement ideas for the boards. So I wanted to share some of those with you. We need swings at Smith Elementary. That was a overwhelming school improvement plan option. There were 2 votes for a seesaw because then they can work together. A little extra recess time. A couple of my little friends wanted more free reading time, which I thought was really impressive, and more playground balls, maybe a zip line. One student was very impressive. He wanted more math time. He wanted more math to learn. And then we really needed wet wipes. So if anybody's willing to donate wet wipes, drop those off at Smith Elementary. But it was very interesting to have these 2nd graders having this intelligent conversation, and it's like you almost forget they're 2nd graders. But I will share these cards with you. I've been on the board for 5 years, and I have a box at home that I have every sticker, every poster, every card, everything that's ever been given to me about this seat. These mean more than you know. So I will share these with you guys so you can see the wish list at Smith. But that's all I have. So anything else? That was really exciting, right? Okay. Closed session motion from Mr. Engel.
There you go again. Thank you, Madam Chair. And board members, I make a motion we enter into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to preserve attorney-client privilege, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A6 to consider confidential personal information protected under North Carolina General Statute 115C-319 and 115C-321.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll move into closed session at this time. We are back in open session. At this time, Dr. Yolanda Anderson from our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources has a personnel report.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I ask that you approve the personnel report as presented in closed session this evening.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Motion and a second to approve the personnel report as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Dr. Anderson. Is there any other business before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for being with us this evening.